Well, to be Capital G here, talking about the 2017 Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Forbidden and Limited list. It has been revealed. It is actually pretty interesting, and I just kind of wanted to touch base on this, as well as talk about Worlds and the formats, talk about what you guys believe is going to be the top deck at this event, what do you guys believe is going to ultimately end up taking the event, and what the meta could actually end up looking like. And I don't want to overemphasize the significance of the Worlds ban list, and to be honest, like in the grand scheme of things, this list is really not that important. It's only a list for 2 days. For those of you who just have no idea what the World's ban list is, this is a list that basically they play Worlds under, and it's a list that it's comprised of a combination of the TCG and the OCG list. It's kind of like they slammed them together, and then they added in a whole bunch of other things. For starters, any cards that are TCG only or OCG only, any like TCG exclusive archetypes that the OCG have not gotten yet, like spirals or subterrors, all of their cards, every single one of them is automatically banned. And if there are any OCG only cards like Lunar Light, Kaleido Chick, or Fright for Patchwork, so rest in pepperonis, anybody who wanted to play Fluffles at this event, those cards are automatically banned as well. And then the reason that I say it's kind of a combination between the TCG and OCG ban list is any card that is banned under TCG or OCG is automatically banned in this tournament as well. It doesn't matter if it's legal in one region and it's not legal in the other, it's automatically banned. And they take cards at their lowest points between both ban lists. So let me use an example. Let me see if I can find our good old buddy Max C here. They should be under limited, right? So here's our good buddy Max C, and Max C is under the limited to 1 cards, and that's simply because that it's limited to 1 in the TCG. And I'm sure a lot of OCG players are like, what the Kappa? I mean, we're used to playing 3 Max C, and we don't even play 3 Max C, and you know, this kind of sucks. But unfortunately, them be the rules, guys. So things like Edea, or not Edea, Aether, the Heavenly Monarch, you know, those cards are like limited, and then other things that are banned, like Level Eater is banned in the OCG. So TCG players, we don't get to play Level Eater. Cap G was right all along, Kappa. But anyways, there are actually a couple of weird things on this list, right? So in addition to the normal rules and regulations of kind of how Konami makes the world list, they actually went a step further and they banned a couple of other cards that I did not see coming at all. Let me see if I can find the spells right here. So we're at the banned spells. You guys see Pot of Greed, Premature Burial, Snatch Steal, Spellbook of Judgment, right? But did you ever expect to see Mystic Walk on a ban list? And then also, let me scroll up a little bit. Let me see if I can scroll up a little bit. Not only is Mystic Walk on there, Emergency Provisions is on there as well. Emergency Provisions, guys, confirmed 2 OP for Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2017. Okay, the only thing that I can think of, for starters, let me just say I cannot think of any reason why Emergency Provisions is actually banned, except maybe they thought that somebody might bust out the chain burn. Because if you guys don't know, if you use Emergency Provisions as the last chain link, and it resolves first, I believe that even though the cards don't have to be the cards, even though that they leave the field, you still basically gain the life points. And I'm thinking that they didn't want any shenanigans with people playing like chain burn, so I believe that you chain Emergency Provisions last and then it ends up resolving first and you gain a whole bunch of life points. The same thing kind of goes with Mystic Walk. I don't think that they wanted duels being decided in time. You guys know that if you ever go in time, it starts being, you know, whoever has the life point lead at a certain amount of time. Well, think about if you happen to have like a masterpiece on the field or something really big, maybe an Ignister, you attack your opponent for like 27 or 2950 or something, and then in that same battle phase, you use Mystic Walk, and it's like, I just dealt 2800 to you, and I gained 2800, and it's like, dude, that's a 5600 swing. That should almost always be enough for you to win. I mean, you could probably even stall because that life point lead, there's just such a discrepancy between that. The gap is like the Grand Cane or something. That's the only thing that I can think about. But it's really weird because they left Soul Absorption actually legal. And have you guys ever seen those Soul? I get sent at least 10 Soul Absorption replays probably every couple of weeks, and they're all kind of the same deck. It's just a bunch of Necro Faces, a bunch of Eater of Thousands, and you just kind of banish everything, Macrocosmos, Dimensional Fissure, and you just kind of banish until you gain life points. And I've actually seen those decks I've seen those decks outlast opponents who have like 5 monsters on the board, because with Pot of Desires and stuff like that, and with Necroface, they just keep gaining so many life points. Sometimes they'll be at like 30, 40,000, and their opponent, doesn't matter how many monsters on board you have, you just can't do the damage, especially if they happen to use something like a Quaking Mirror Force and they put all your monsters face down, and it's just like, I guess I scoop. But I really thought that they would have went after Soul Absorption if they were trying to hit life point gain cards. I think it's really weird that they did not. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the World's formats. Oops, that's not what I meant to click. I meant to click that. I guess the video is 5 minutes in. Let's talk about what actually is going to happen. I actually pulled up Soul Absorption because for some reason they did not hit that. Now, I do think that there are a few decks we can obviously go ahead and eliminate. I didn't even feel a need to put Subterrors and Spirals up here because those entire archetypes are illegal for the tournament, so there's no point. And then obviously there will be other ones like Lunar Light and Fluffles for anybody who was even thinking about playing those, because you guys know if I ever go to Worlds, I'd play Lunar Lights. But with no Kaleido Chick, with no Fright for Patchwork, I don't really think that there's even a point of playing those, and those are low tier decks anyways. But I think we have to automatically eliminate Zodiac. Zodiac is not going to have the power to make it through even these tier 2 decks without Trident, without Barrage, and without Broad Bowl. That's no more searching, no more, popping during your opponent's turn. Your normal summon now means everything outside of, Shuffle Reborn, like Zodiac. Barrage is that kind of second summon card. Obviously, they don't have Norden or anything like that, so I just really don't see Zodiac doing anything. Rapier is also at 1, so I mean, shit, it's almost like you might as well not even play that card. I think we should also eliminate True Dracos. Now, I know that some people will say the pure variants can still be good. My question is, if you're running a pure variant of Demise, are you just running extra copies of the other, True Draco monsters that people don't commonly run? Because Masterpiece is at 1. You see right here, I currently have it on the OCG list. I guess I'll switch back to the TCG, but Masterpiece is at 1, Diagram is at 1, so I just honestly, if you're not opening up with Diagram, I mean, I see a potential of you not really opening up with monsters. Like, that could definitely happen in a 4 or 5 round tournament, because think about it, the person who wins World probably has to go maybe 7-0 or something like that, or you have to go maybe 6-1, maybe 1 loss or something like that. So, I mean, do you really want to open with the potential of not getting Masterpiece or Diagram in your opening hand? Doesn't seem like that would be very much ideal. I also think that Paleozoics, as strong as they are, you might have to eliminate them. That could be a deck where maybe you could say it could still do things, and that's simply because Totally Awesome is at 1 in the OCG, and Totally Awesome is probably still like the best XC in the game. Maybe Dryden will have something to say about that, but with only 1 copy of Totally Awesome, man, I don't know if that thing gets hit with like a Solemn Strike early. Oh, that could be some trouble. I mean, obviously you can put it back in your deck, but it also kind of eliminates the possibility of you ever having 2 Totally Awesomes on the field at once. So those are the 3 decks that I thought should probably be eliminated. And actually, you know what? I don't generally do this in a video, but there's actually one more deck that I kind of want to add to the mix of decks that I think could be strong. No, I don't want this. There we go. Let's add ABC Buster Dragon to this, because I think that ABC could definitely be a contender. In fact, maybe ABC should be the favorite. These are all decks that I think have very good chances of winning. First off, I'm going to start with a deck that I don't think anybody's even going to talk about. I don't think anybody's even going to mention, and that is DDD. Keep in mind, Maxi is at 1, guys. Maxi at 1 is so good for DDD because DDD like to pop the freak off turn 1, and DDD can still make those super strong boards that if you don't have things like Regeki, which Regeki is banned for this tournament, so you won't have Regekis. I don't know, man. DDD seems like an incredibly strong pick. DDD is consistent. You're gonna have 3 copies of Pot of Desires. Maxi is going to be at a minimum. I feel like if I was just gonna go out on a limb and I was gonna pick a super rogue deck, and also Japanese players love DDD, so getting their cards, being able to play DDD almost at full. The only thing I think either green or red slime is at 2, but I think everything else in the deck is like back at 3. So I think DDD can be a very strong contender. ABC is a super strong contender. ABC's got a good grind game. ABC is a deck that you can kind of side anything in. And what do you really side against ABC? Like all of those anti-machine cards, like System Down, is anybody really going to be siding those? Like all the cards that kind of shit on ABC, like Winter Cherries, I just don't know if anybody's actually going to be playing those cards. I do understand that Supply Hanger or Union Hanger, I literally always forget which one it is in the TCG, but I think that Union Hanger is at 2 because it is at 2 in the OCG. I don't think that that's that big of a deal. I mean, guys, we still got 2 Terraformings that you're going to be able to play because Terraforming just got hit it too as well. So with 2 terraforming plus 2 hangers, and I mean, maybe you run some pot of dualities, maybe like 1 or 2, something like that. I mean, I feel like it shouldn't be that big of a deal. ABC's still consistent. You can run skill drain in it, because I guess why not? Run that 1 copy of skill drain. Another deck that I think should probably go in as the favorite is going to be Invoked Wind Witch. This deck has everything that it needs at full power. You can even run artifacts with like Sanctum. You can keep your opponent out of the extra deck. Clearly the turn 1 Crystal Wing is just going to be incredible. I don't know how many people are going to be running Kaijus at this event. If people don't run Kaijus and Mirror Forces, I see that turn 1 Crystal Wing as being almost damn near unkillable. Like, what's really going to take that thing down? That Crystal Wing could be so big. Obviously, because of Alistair and because of Invocation, deck has a super strong grind game. So I think that this is probably the favorite going into the event. And because it has so much utility with the extra deck, it kind of doesn't matter what it's playing against. It'll be able to summon its fusions regardless using its opponent's graveyard. Then I put one of my decks up here. Honestly, I'm just going to get slack for putting this up here. I put Dark Magician up here because there's no Zodiac. I've been on the record multiple times. The reason I stopped playing Dark Magician was because of Zodiac. Because there's not enough ways for you to, if your opponent has Dryad at turn 1, either they pop your Circle or they pop your Eternal Soul. If your Eternal Soul gets popped, you just auto lose with Dark Magician. And if your Eternal Soul gets popped, then you don't really get your combo pieces, and then you probably just lose because it's taking you too long to kind of get set up. But without Trident in the format, who knows, man? Dark Magician, not a deck that really gets wrecked by Dimensional Barrier, which could be a card that sees a lot of play there, because it does see a lot of play in the TCG. I think Dark Magician has an excellent grind game. It can actually do burn damage because of Flare Dragon, and it depends on how much spell and trap removal is going to be at this event. If people are not maxing out on spell and trap removal, because if you look at some of these decks, man, DDD and even a deck like Wind Witch Invoke, they don't have a lot of spell and trap removal. If they're not playing spell and trap removal, I guarantee Dark Magician can like outgrind and beat these decks, because once you get Eternal Soul and Circle, if your opponent cannot kill those, you are going to outgrind them. It doesn't matter how many times they kill your Dark Magician. If you have Eternal Soul and you constantly summon it back turn after turn after turn after turn, you'll eventually remove enough cards with Circle that your opponent won't have the answers. And then you have cards like Navigation that can, basically act as like kind of pseudo magic / trap jammers from the graveyard. I also put up Blue Eyes. This is just kind of like, I guess this is because Blue Eyes did win last year. I don't know honestly how much belief I have in Blue Eyes. I feel like the deck just dies the trap so hard, but sometimes it can overwhelm the opponents. And if it's going to be a format where people are not going to be running a bunch of traps, Blue Eyes might be a very tough pick. Keep in mind, Soul Charge obviously still illegal. Blue Eyes takes advantage of that extremely well. A very aggressive deck. It is the winner of the last World's Championship, so definitely a deck that we have to have a little bit of respect for. And then another deck that I feel like might be like DDD, a little under the radar, is Mermail, or I guess you could call it Water Mermail, Mermail Atlanteans, Atlantean Mermail, Water deck, whatever you want to call it. Still one of the most aggressive decks in the game. Still a deck that can actually make that 1 copy of Totally Awesome, because they can go into Bahamut Shark, and I don't really think that they need the double Totally Awesome, because it doesn't really happen all that much. I know the deck did lose Norden, and I mean, that kind of hurt, but it didn't really hurt all that much. It just kind of hurt the Bahamut Shark play. I still think that Mermail have more than enough gas in the tank, especially if they don't have to deal with True Dracos, if they don't have to deal with that dang on Masterpiece and whatnot. Plus, even if they do, it's not like they can't play triple Gamecill, 2 copies of Gamecill in the main deck anyways, to out those Dynamites and those, pesky cards like that. And then actually, this is probably on me. I'm gonna type in Conductor right here. Conductor Tyranno. Yeah, I guess this is my fault right here. Let me type in Yu-Gi-Oh. I usually like to have Yu-Gi-Oh on there. The last deck I'd like to talk about, which actually just kind of dawned on me, would be probably the the True King Dinosaur deck. This is still a deck I feel like is super overrated. I mean, yeah, it's a good deck on paper, and it can make some very strong turn 1 plays, arguably even better than every deck that I just named. No, not better than DDD. DDD can make the best fields out of all of these decks, but you can make some turn 1 fields. The problem that I have with it is, if there are any Kaijus at the event, I feel I feel like this deck is just gonna get wrecked. I feel like it is incredibly flimsy, and if you lose your turn 1 field, you just lose the duel outright. And I don't know, it never really took off in the TCG. Like, it did better in the OCG than it did in the TCG, and I think maybe the OCG players will be more adept to it because they've been playing it longer. They've been mixing it in with Yang Zing cards, and they have been successful since Zodiac has been gone for a few months, and there's no real need to try and even mess with Zodiac, so they have been moving back towards like True Kings and stuff like that. But I don't know, I would consider it probably, I would say that it's comparable to I don't think it'll see as much play as ABC. I would say it's comparable to like DDD, honestly. I just think DDD is a better pick because I think the way that the ban list matches up, I think it kind of matches up well for DDD. I mean, Smart Money should be on Invoke. The Invoke should go in as the favorite for this event, and then I would probably say ABC after that. I think that people would be too high on True King Dino, which I don't think is going to win the event, and then the deck that I think that would be probably a good better choice would be DDD because one Maxi, no Regeki, probably not that many Kaijus. One Kaiju doesn't break a DDD board anyways. I don't know. You know what? That's my pick. My random pick is DDD to win the tournament. I know people were like, Dart Magician. No, DDD is going to win Worlds 2017. But what do you guys ultimately think is going to win? And what do you think of the ban list? Mystic, Wok, and Emergency Provisions ban? What is going on with Konami? Maybe, you know what? It's going to end up being one of these damn banished decks with Necrophase just to spite me. Anyways, whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. This video has been brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audible.com/MegaCapitalG. Over 180,000 titles to choose from on your mobile device. I'm listening to the amazing I Can't Make This Up by Kevin Hart. Link in the description.